every GOP Senate Majority Leader candidate opposes marijuana legalization. Okay, so here we are. We're going to put someone in charge of the Senate, which I believe the geriatrics need to step aside. And that's Mitch McConnell. He needs to get the fuck out of the way. And some of the older curmudgeons in the Congress need to step aside and give the baton to some younger people. What we're looking at here is three candidates: John Cornyn, Rick Scott, and John Thune. Okay? And these guys are old school anti-marijuana folks. And you can't put lipstick on this pig. I'm sorry. They're going to oink and oink and oink about all the problems with marijuana. Mr. Cornyn, okay, he wants a hearing in Congress on the public health consequences of marijuana. Okay? Come on. The public health consequences of alcohol and tobacco, which are legal, are unbelievably harsh. Public health consequences from smoking weed are minuscule compared to these other drugs. And fentanyl really is a problem. So we're going to go once again, study the health consequences of marijuana. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. He thought that the issue of rescheduling was more politics than science. Okay. Well, yeah, that might be true, but the science is lacking because people have refused to fund and allow science to research cannabis over the last 50 years. They just won't let it happen. And that's not an adequately comprehensive review to go into rescheduling. That there's a problematic change in the process from the old DEA, the 2-part test to the 5-part test. Okay, well, a problematic change in the process, any change in the process to make it easier to find that there's current acceptable medical use, I think is a positive thing, but oh no, that's a problematic change. And Mr. Cornyn, I think he's being lobbied by Sam, Kevin Sabet, because his talking points come right out of their playbook. Okay, so him being helpful to marijuana legalization, yeah, don't hold your breath. Rick Scott. Oh, and the other thing that Cornyn said is that the Safer Banking Act is going to lead to higher potency marijuana products. I mean, it's hard to even get that out of my mouth. Okay, like you can't get any higher potency than we have today. Okay, stop it. It's there. Banking is a problem for the industry. High potency products are out there. Mr. Scott, he views weed as a gateway drug. He opposed the Florida initiative, and importantly, he has a brother who's a drug addict. Okay? And in my experience, like Nancy Reagan, you grew up in a house where your dad's an alcoholic, you either are a drunk or you're violently opposed to alcohol and drugs, okay? Scott's same way. He's got a brother struggling with drugs. Rather than being sympathetic and find ways to fix it, no, we're not going to allow it. Okay, well, you tell them you can't allow it, they're going to get their drugs anyway. That's the problem we all have in this country. You cannot use prohibitionary laws to stop people from using drugs. Stop it. That ship sunk decades ago, so just stop it. And, okay, John Thune. He opposed rescheduling. He opposed banking changes. Okay? He thinks the medical benefits of weed are inconclusive. Let me just remind you of Sue Sisley. You know, this woman had more stones than half the medical profession, I understand. She wanted to study PTSD and how weed affected it. It took her years. She got fired. The DEA required her to have a safe like Fort Knox to hold a fucking pound of weed that you can walk around the corner and people have in the back of their car. The nonsense that went on. Finally, she showed that weed helps veterans with PTSD. Oh, my God, Omar, is that like rocket science? We never heard that again? Okay. You know, 25 years ago, when Molly and I are giving out recommendations, the first thing we recognize is that if you have flashbacks from the war, you can sleep well at night smoking weed. That's not rocket science. So we've got Thune saying, oh, the medical benefits are inconclusive. Yeah, because if the DEA got anything back other than weed is bad from a research project, they pulled funding. You could never get weed again to study it. Go ask Dr. Taskin at UCLA, who concluded that it's safer to smoke weed than breathe the air in Los Angeles. Oh, my God. We can't have that. Oh, the three people that are going to be put in charge of the Senate get an F. Get an F when it comes to marijuana legalization. So I'm not hopeful we're going to get shit out of Congress for better banking rules, for taking 280E away. I see that Schedule 3 is going to be torpedoed and sidelined. It's not going to happen. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I don't see legalization happening either, or descheduling, put it into ATF, make it more like alcohol and tobacco. Well, I'm not going to see that either. And I also don't see that we're going to get a lot of oxygen in the room for cannabis legalization. I don't see Trump wanting to do this. He's got other priorities, and I don't think we're going to have, even if Jason becomes the deputy drug czar in the United States, I don't see Trump wanting to encourage people to legalize marijuana through the Congress. I just don't see it. That's my rant for the morning. Okay, I may be on one, but I'm throwing it back at you for what you all have to say here.
Well, Dale, maybe you need to wipe off your glasses a little bit, because there was a tweet that went out yesterday, and we shared it on our Instagram feed. If you want to, Chris Christie? Yeah, Chris Christie is claiming that the Trump administration is going to deschedule cannabis.
I think he was. I think that predicts a lot of shit, and nothing has ever come true.
And I don't know. Was it a prediction, or was he saying that he thinks that's the correct approach, not that he actually thinks the administration?
So that's an interesting question right there, Sohum. No, I believe that this is information that he's got firsthand from it, because I know firsthand that Chris Christie, who I've always called Chris Krispy Kreme, is not a supporter of cannabis. And so for the fact that he is the one that they're sourcing as the source of this information, I find it incredibly interesting and telling.
And do you think that he's been a truthful person throughout his political career?
Totally. Especially when he's trying to close down a bridge.
Gaps. Yeah, I was going to say, let's bring it back to that. But hold on. I actually want to go back to the comments that, what's his name, Senator Cornyn made. Mm-hmm. I really want to hear the logic of how safer banking leads to higher potency cannabis. This is, I would love to see those mental gymnastics.
I agree with you. I don't understand where he's getting that at. I would love to have a conversation with the senator in regards to how he is coming up with that, and kind of dispel the ridiculousness in that thought process. But nonetheless, it's how he's feeling.
Yeah. So. Well, it's not going to foretell a bright future or cannabis legalization. And just to address the Chris Christie, I don't see that Trump's going to give Chris Christie any great information. Christie came out against him. He's not going to bring him in the administration. He thinks Donald Trump's full of shit. He said it publicly more times than I can remember. I just don't see anything that Christie claims has come out of the Trump future White House. I don't give it any credibility whatsoever.
I don't know. I give it credibility just because I know that he's not a cannabis supporter, and so that's why I'm giving it credibility. Because otherwise, why would he even throw it out there? Why would he even say anything? It doesn't make any sense for him to even bring it up as a talking point. There's millions of other things that he could say to get attention.
I mean, but let's be real, though, especially from the Republican side, every single prominent Republican politician on the national stage that has come out very strongly against Trump initially has eventually bent the knee. Look at Ted Cruz, for example. Trump called his wife ugly and implied that his dad assassinated JFK. And what did Cruz do at the end of the day? He endorsed him and now is the biggest dick rider for Trump that you could possibly find.
I don't know about all that.
Vance, too.
JD Vance, exactly. Every single one of them initially was an anti-Trump Republican, but once they realized that he had popular control of the party, they bend the knee to whatever he wants.
I don't know about all that, but I think it's cute how you guys are coming up with that. I'm just going to say, well, here's the thing. I don't believe that they bent the knee and all of this. Is they came around to reason that his policies actually make sense, and they want to have an American first approach.
How do you say that with a straight face?
I just did. I believe it.
Just because you believe something, Jason, doesn't mean it's
just
true.
Just like little Marco. Just like little Marco. He's getting ready to be the Secretary of State.
Yeah. Right. So Jason, let me ask you something. You think that for all of time in politics, people choose a position for some reason or another, whether it's capital, whether it's getting a new position, getting an appointment or something like that. Except all of that stopped with MAGA in the Republican Party, and now people don't trade political favors at all, and it's all because they see the purity of and the validity of those policy positions. Come on, get the fuck out of here.
What you're saying doesn't make sense. What's that, Rico? What's that?
Let me just point out that there's a major part of human nature that humans love to believe shit that's demonstrably and provably not true. Okay? It's the source of so much death and destruction in the history of mankind, and you can see it daily. People want to believe stuff, and if it's shown that it's not true, what do? Twist themselves into a pretzel to justify their belief system when the rest of them are going, this is fucking crazy. Okay? And we're going to be dealing with this now for at least 2 years until the next Congress can get, before the public, and we'll see how they agree with it then. But stuff that's demonstrably not true, like Trump won the 2020 election. Okay, it's demonstrably and provably not true, but people still want to believe it.
He did win.
I believe in the god Apollo. Okay, how far will I take that? Well, I don't know. Okay, how far are we going to go with that? Okay, it doesn't mean it's true, but I can believe it just because people believe something. And Omar and I deal with this in the courtroom all the time. I don't give a shit what you believe. If you didn't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, or you're not qualified as an expert witness, Marcus Aurelius said it well. Opinions of 10,000 men are worthless if you know nothing on the subject. I'll stop there.
Mic drop.
Well. You have anything else you want to say on this, Jenny or Rico, Sohum, Omar?
Yeah, man, we're no longer in a democracy. We are officially in a hypocrisy.
Stop it. You guys are so funny.
Hypocrisy. That's the new word of the day. It's to rule by the most incompetent. It's the fancy word for idiocracy.
Yeah, whoever wants to bow down and kiss the rings is going to be in charge.
Oh boy, you guys are such.
Then you should be just fine, Rico.
Yeah. And on that, we're going to go to a commercial. We're going to be right back. We are going to be right back.
Got me there.